One of the most important things a man can do when looking for a partner is learn how to vet her properly. And you do this by paying attention to these 5 things. Because a lot of men will say, I can build her, I can fix her, but that's not a high value woman you have. That's a project.
Now, before we continue with this video, I gotta ask you guys some questions because it's important for me to know and it's important for you to know if you're actually looking for a high value woman. Now, the question I guess would be, what do you consider a high value woman? And are you looking to have a woman that you can particularly fix? Are you looking to fix a woman? Comment your thoughts under this video. Now, I know we are all different, so the comment section should be very interesting. So let's get back to this video because she's giving us some dating tips. But let me introduce myself. My name is Bertrand. I am the coolest dude on the planet. Confidence and clarity is the goal. So here we go.
One of the most important things a man can do when looking for a partner is learn how to vet her properly. And you do this.
Most men are looking for a spouse, not a partner. But I guess
is by paying attention to these 5 things. Because a lot of men will say, I can build her, I can fix her, but that's not a high value woman you have. That's a project. So number 1, watch her patterns, not what she says, but what she repeats. And her patterns will reveal her level of emotional regulation, or if she even has emotional regulation. Number 2, look at her effort. Does she invest in you and in the relationship, in herself even? Or does she just want to be entertained and receive? Number 3 is listen to how she talks about her past and her ex. That is a preview into her mindset. Does she gossip? Does she throw them under the bus?
I like what this woman has to say so far. I'm interested to know if you guys agree. Make sure you join today's conversation because I'm going to do a breakdown of all 5 of these tips that she's given us. So let's continue. I mean, this is starting out great, but let's continue.
Is she ungrateful? And number 4, look at her lifestyle. Is it peaceful and grounded, or is it chaotic and attention driven? Does she thrive off of drama? And number 5 is watch what happens when she doesn't get her way. That will show you her emotional stability if she has any. Watch what happens when she encounters difficult people or difficult life situations. Is she grateful no matter what, or does she always find a way to complain and be a victim? Because you don't build a high value woman. She builds herself. You meet her where she's at. Just like a woman doesn't build a high value man, she meets you where you're at. You both build yourselves, just like Jim Rohn says. He says, I'll build myself for you, and you build yourself for me. That's how you add value and peace and joy to somebody's life, and you keep growing. And I'm going to tell you this too, men, which is hard to hear. Most women, they reveal themselves early on, but you just don't want to see it. You just don't want to look because you are hooked by the chemistry, not the compatibility. And I'm sure you've learned the hard way, as I have, that it's going to cost you heavily in more ways than one.
I absolutely loved her dating tips. I mean, all of these things made so much sense to me, but let me tell you guys this. Chemistry and compatibility matter because if you don't have one or the other, is gonna bite you in the ass.
We actually have a sexless marriage. I think some truths were coming to the surface that I was afraid to look at, which was that I was married to my best friend and someone who I loved deeply and cared deeply about, but someone who was never my romantic partner. I remember growing up, my grandma was like, just marry your best friend. And I was like, I found my best friend, but I think you need to marry your best friend who's also your lover.
There is a distinct difference.
It's a distinct difference.
But let me be fair. Let me be all the way fair with you guys. Anytime you're vetting a woman, it really doesn't matter what questions you ask this woman. What matters is what that woman actually does. So seeing her patterns matter because you need to see how she handles conflict or how things change, because things will definitely change. Clear point example. When she's on her period, how does she act and react to different things? Okay. When she has certain friends or family around, how does she react to being around them, and how do they influence what she does or what she doesn't do? The most important thing I can tell you is you want to know exactly what gets her going or what gets her veered off, going into a direction that you don't really want her to go into. Now, do men actually want women that they can fix? This is an interesting question, because the young me was like, yes, I can deal with her. I can fix her. She'll listen to me. But the older me is like, oh, hell no, I will pass. I've been through that. I see that she's not going to change. And if she does change, she's going to go back to it. Example, back in the day, right? And when I say back in the day, let me say sometime in between 2000 and like 2006, maybe 2008. Men used to have this thing in their mind where they felt like they could get a fixer-upper, right? Like, for instance, we would go out, we would look, we would see the women. Oh, she's cute, she's fine. Oh my gosh, she's the best option in here. And then you would have guys who say, well, you know what? Ooh, her right there. Oh yeah, she's a fixer-upper. Right? We can get her. I can get her to work out. I can get her to lose some of that weight. And yeah, I can get her to put the Twinkies down. Oh my gosh. Hey, right here. Ooh, she gonna be bad. She gonna be bad. Now, again, that might work. And in some cases, it did work for those men and those women. But what ultimately ended up happening was that woman reverted back to her bad habits. Meaning, if she can't put the Twinkies down, if she can't push the plate away, eventually she's gonna revert back to that, and you're gonna be off worse than you actually were. But again, let me be fair. When playing this game of love or romance, it's all a gamble, right? It's all a gamble. Now, her number 2 thing was effort, right? And I'll say this about effort. When it comes to effort, you want that you want to see where you are on her priority list. You also want to know that she had to work hard for you. Now, again, nothing is 100% proof or 100% is going to be this way. But what I can tell you is a woman who's had to work for you or work for something, it's harder for her to give it up. I'm not saying she will not give it up, but what I am saying it is harder for her to give that up. Now, let me ask you this. Are you actually looking for a high value woman? In fact, what is a high value woman to you? For instance, I would say, I don't think I'm looking for a high value woman, but a woman that has high morals, like a high sense of morals, a high sense of understanding, a high sense of honesty, right? She's highly honest, right? I think I'm being a little facetious here, but the point that I'm making is you want that woman to be to have high morals and high standards, right? Meaning you want this woman to be able to fit you and your lifestyle and what you want to do, because you can ask all the questions you want. What did you learn from your past relationship that is going to help you in your current relationship? How did your last relationship end, right? But if you just listen over time, those things are going to come up in conversation, right? How she handles situations that go in her favor versus the things that don't go in her favor. This will tell you a lot about her, but it will also give you the inside track that you need to be able to make the decision to leave or to stay. Now, for me, number 3 would be listen to the advice that she gives. I had an ex who I was in love with. I adored. Things seemed really great because our lives matched up. My daughter being autistic and her being a therapist who helps autistic people and children, right? And everything seemed to have mesh. But I really had to start paying attention to the advice that she was giving to family and friends, because they all looked at her as a therapist, right? So because they're looking at her as a therapist, they would ask her questions and ask for her advice. And I remember one particular piece of advice that she gave to a friend slash, anyway, I'm not gonna get too deep off into that, but the advice that she gave to somebody she looked at as a friend was, oh yeah, girl, yeah, go ahead and go see your ex. He don't never, your current boyfriend don't never want to go out with you, and he don't never want to do nothing with you, but you got your ex, and your ex, you know your ex, your kids know your ex, so you should go tell him that you going to do something else, and you go see your ex, because y'all getting ready to break up anyway. And when she told me that, I was just like, wow. Like, why would you tell her that? She lives with this current boyfriend. There's no guarantee that they're going to break up. There's no guarantee that they're going to break up. They might just be going through a rough time. There's no telling why this man doesn't want to go out into the public with his girlfriend.
Hey, Lord have mercy. Oh.
Right? There's no telling. Things can change over time. But the point I'm making to you guys is you have to listen to the advice that she's willing to give, because if she's giving that advice, then she's actually living that advice. So gossiping is one thing, but how she actually think matters. Number 4, the lifestyle that she's living versus the desired lifestyle. This is important to know, because she may be living a lifestyle, but she may want something different. And that want that's different could be the thing that causes you guys issues, problems, or it may be the thing that causes you guys to break up, because someone can show up with that lifestyle and she's ready to go, because that's the lifestyle that she's already wanting. So she may think that this is something that just fell in her lap versus something that she has to actually work for. Now, the majority of us, we want everything that we don't have to work for. Like, if we don't have to work for it, we can just get it. The majority of us would just take it. There's very few people who would actually work for those things. Now, let me know if I'm tripping. Let me know down in the comments if I'm tripping. Let me know if you're the type of person that has to work for every single thing they get, because I'm telling you, I've experienced some women who will say one thing and do another thing once their desired or perceived desired reality or lifestyle is potentially right there in front of them. I mean, think about it, right? The access that women have, they do have access to athletes. They do have access to entertainers. They do have access to other people who have clout and other people or other men who have money. They do have access to them. It's as simple as knowing what their screen name is on Instagram and being able to send them a DM. It is that simple. Not to mention, there's so many different dating apps to where you just don't know. Now, how a woman handles you telling her no is very, very important, fellas, because you're gonna have times where you have to tell this woman no, and how she responds is extremely important, especially if you have decided to invest in this woman. Now, when I say invest, I mean she's on your bank accounts. She knows the passwords. She has access to your money and everything that's tied to the money, right? It's important for you to know how she handles no when you tell her no, because it's going to happen. Whether it's out of the budget or whether it's just not the best time right now because business isn't going as you would hope it would, or you're maybe having a down month or a down year. How does that woman respond? Does she have your back? Does she still want to be there? Or does she turn into a brat? Is she looking elsewhere? Is she looking for the next guy that's going to say yes? Some important information that you guys may want to know is when it comes to men and women, men can be discouraged by what a woman did in her past, while a woman is encouraged by what you are doing for your future, or what she perceives you doing in your future. This is why we keep having the same conversation about sex and money, because we see it a little bit different. Men get into relationships thinking he's going to get consistent sex, while women are getting into relationships because they're looking at a good lifestyle versus the lifestyle getting better. So with that being said, the next thing, and this actually is the most important thing, you need to know, especially if you're vetting for marriage, the most important thing you need to know is who she takes advice from, who she respects, because that's going to be the person that you may want to at least understand their mindset. Do they have her best interests in mind? Are they selfish? Are they looking at you and saying you're a good option or you're a bad option? Because if this is the person that she respects, that's the person that is going to be the biggest challenge or obstacle for you in your relationship. Remember that relationships and getting into a committed relationship, getting into a marriage, it's all a gamble. You do not know how things are going to finish, right? You may have a good grasp on how it started. Hopefully it starts great. Hopefully you guys are in that honeymoon phase where you just can't keep your hands and your eyes off of each other, and when you guys are together, nothing else matters. Those things are important. But what happens after that is also important, because that woman is going to change after she has that first child. And if you have more children, she's going to change a little bit or a lot more after every single child. It's called postpartum. But you know what? I got a question for you guys. What do you think? Make sure you comment your thoughts under this video. Also, hype the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more confidence and clarity, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.